Hi everybody, and welcome to Math 1350, Introduction to Statistics. My name is Lane McConnell, and I'm going to be your instructor this semester. And I want to use this video as an introduction into the layout, expectations, and schedule of the course, along with policy, basically go over the stuff in the syllabus, and give you an idea of what the expectations are for the course. So I want to start here on our Brightspace page. To navigate to Brightspace, if you're new to the system or new to CNM, go to mycourses.cnm.edu, and that'll allow you to log in and see a module for each of your courses. Select the one corresponding to Introduction to Statistics, and you should come to a page that looks exactly like the one that we're looking at here. This is going to be our starting point. We're going to be using Brightspace for basically everything we do this semester. The first thing you'll want to take note of is that all of my information is over here on the right side of the screen. It has my email address, which is by far the best way to get in touch with me if you need a quick response. Typically, I'll respond to emails as soon as I see them throughout the work week. And on the weekends, if I'm out and about doing stuff, I still try to stop in and check on my emails at least once a day, unless I'm out camping or out of contact for some reason like that. This also contains information regarding office hours. This class is a hard class, I'm not going to lie. But I think with the right guidance and with you asking the right questions, you'll be able to get through it no problem. So as part of that, I'm asking you to ask me those questions as they come up. You can do that either via email or via my office hours, which I have listed here. There's a Zoom link. I'm going to be holding those on Mondays from 9 to 10 a.m. If you can't make those office hours, I'm going to try to have additional ones throughout the week, and I certainly have some on campus. If you're taking some classes in person on main campus, I have office hours from 10 to 11:15 on Tuesdays and Thursdays in person. If none of these work, send me an email and I'll do my best to arrange a time that we can meet that works for both of us outside of these scheduled hours. So using this as our starting point, I want to go over a whole bunch of stuff. The first thing tells you kind of right here, before you begin, review the overview and syllabus. And so I want to show you how to get there. We're going to go to coursework, and this will be basically the way that you start navigating almost everything we do. Go to coursework and select content, and it'll bring you to a page that looks like this. And notice the starting point is the overview and the syllabus here, but there's a whole bunch of other options down here on the left that you can select from, and all of those will be relevant at various points throughout the semester. I also want to point out, let me just go back to the page we were at a minute ago and point out that if you don't want to click through and go to the coursework and then content, if you just scroll down, you can also access basically all of those same modules by just scrolling down on this initial page. And as part of that, another nice feature is that we also have a calendar on the right-hand side of the screen down here that'll give you just hints and tips about, hey, this is coming up, or this is almost due. So you might want to keep this in mind as well, just to make sure that you stay on track in the course. But back to the overview and syllabus. Let me get there. Okay. So Math 1350, covering statistics, is a really interesting course. And I'm going to say what I'm about to tell you a bunch of times. You're going to hear it in other videos throughout the semester. But statistics is a really cool, really applicable field of math, even if you hate math and don't ever see any use for math in your life. It turns out that math, or statistics specifically, really mirrors the way that humans learn. It involves taking in information, analyzing that information, and then making decisions based on that information. We're just going to be doing all of that in a very formal way. And I'll save most of that spiel for the first lecture video. You'll hear all about it then, but it's going to be something that I come back to time and time again throughout the semester. The first thing, as we scroll down, you'll notice that it talks about learning objectives. These are really as much for me as they are for you. Right now, if you go through these, unless you've already taken a statistics course, there's going to be a ton of jargon in here that you probably have no idea what these terms mean. Don't worry about it. By the end of the semester, you'll be familiar with all of this stuff. I just want to get us to the syllabus. And so here's the syllabus. You are going to have a syllabus quiz just to make sure that you have absorbed everything and you know kind of where to find things. It'll be easy. It counts for your participation. And I think I let you have unlimited attempts on it. But it has a lot of the same information that we saw previously. My name, here it has my office and cubicle number. If you happen to be on main campus, this is where you can find me. Again, my email address and my office hours, including both those Zoom ones as well as the in-person ones on main campus. Here's a rehash of those same things I just mentioned, those student learning outcomes here that just have all the jargon. So I'm going to skip that for now. You'll know all of that stuff at the end of the semester and come down to the stuff that you care about on day one. And that is probably the materials for the course. The first thing I want to point out is the book that we're using. We are using an ebook of Elementary Statistics by Navidi and Monk. And we're going to be using ALEKS, which is a software that will allow you to basically do practice problems. We're going to be doing all of our homework via this software program called ALEKS. You already have access to all of this as soon as you register. We have an inclusive access model in the math courses, meaning you already paid the fee for the book when you registered for the course. It was included as part of the course fees. So you shouldn't be prompted to pay for the book again. You don't need to pay for the book again. You'll have access to the ebook, and I'll show you in a little while how we can access that. If you want, if you're one of those old school people that really likes, a paper fungible token that you can peruse through, we do have a loose leaf version of the text that you can get. I want to say it costs $20 or $30, and you can go into the bookstore and ask for it there. But probably not going to be necessary. My hope is that with the lecture videos that I provide, most of you will only need to use the textbook a minimal amount as sort of a supplement to the information that I'm giving you in the lecture videos. Another really important thing for this course is the calculator. On here, I'm requiring a TI-84 calculator, but any variation of that is fine. TI-84 Plus or Silver Edition, or they have ones with a bunch of letters appended to them. If you have an older one, a TI-83 or an 83 Plus, those will work just as well. And even if you have a different brand, a Casio or an HP, a different brand of graphing calculator, all of those have the functionality that we need. But as the semester goes on, I'm going to be giving instructional videos specifically for the TI-84 showing exactly which buttons to press. As long as you stick to either the TI-83 or 84 or a variation thereof, the buttons will be identical to what I show in all of my videos. The problem is graphing calculators are really expensive. So if you don't already own one, and if you cannot find somebody that owns one that you can borrow, a friend or a relative or something like that, we have a couple of alternatives. But I want to put this big asterisk here. I would strongly, strongly recommend buying a graphing calculator or borrowing one, but having access to a physical graphing calculator. It's going to be really helpful on exams. Because while we do have these alternatives that are some apps that you can download that will emulate a graphing calculator on your cell phone, it's going to be great for homework. I cannot allow you to use your cell phones during exams, and therefore you won't have access to those apps during exams. But if you have a real calculator, then you can actually use that during exam time. So my recommendation is either borrow one if you can, or use one that you already own. But if you don't want to go out and buy one, utilize one of these apps on your phone, and it'll be great for homework. The button layouts are identical to on the real calculator, so you'll still become familiar. And then during actual exams, my recommendation is to go to one of CNM's libraries and check out a calculator from them. They have graphing calculators that you can check out for free as long as you have your CNM ID. Take your CNM ID in, and you'll be able to check out a calculator for free there just during the exams. I don't know how long they let you keep it. There was a while they were letting you keep it for like an entire day. It used to be they'd only let you keep it for a couple of hours. I don't know what their current policy is, but that would be my recommendation for taking exams. And that will allow you to still utilize the calculator without having to pay for it. I'll also throughout the semester be showing you how to do all of the problems using a spreadsheet. We're going to be using Microsoft Excel, but it's basically the exact same if you use like a Google spreadsheet or something like that instead. And you will have access to a semi-functional spreadsheet during the exams as well. And so I want to talk about the exams. Let me kind of skip down through here. Attendance, this is kind of, it's an online course, so log in and participate, but otherwise, no worries there. But where is the part I'm trying to get to? Down here, the grading policy. As part of the exams, for exams, we're going to be using a piece of software called Respondus Lockdown Browser and Monitor. You may have used this in a previous class. Most of our upper division math courses require it at CNM. It's not a fun software. It's not software that I like using. It's not software that I like making you use. But unfortunately, for our courses, specifically math courses, to transfer to other institutions, exams have to be proctored. Basically, 50% of your grade has to come from proctored material. So in this case, that's our exams, and that's the way that we are going to be proctoring remotely, online. So I do want to point out, we'll have a practice quiz run through just of how to use that software, probably in about week 2. Hopefully we can work out all the kinks there. If you do not want to install that software on your computer and use it, I totally understand. As an alternative, you can come in and take your exams at the assessment center at CNM. So the assessment center, I believe there is one, I want to say maybe at Montoya campus, but the one that I'll be using is at main campus. If one of those other locations is more convenient, maybe we can work something out. But otherwise, there's only going to be 3 exams, 2 midterms and a final. And you can come in and take those exams in person if you'd rather not deal with the Respondus monitor. The way your grades are going to be broken down is sort of a standard grading system. A bunch of your grade is going to come from homework here, 30%. There's 5%. Sorry, I forgot to tab that out. I'll have to clean that up here when I put the new version of the syllabus up. But you're going to have a little bit due to participation. We're going to have like 1 or 2 classroom discussions online. Not a big deal. We're going to have that syllabus quiz. All of that's going to count towards your participation grade. We have those exams that I just mentioned. Those will be proctored via Respondus Monitor. And on those exams, I'm going to allow you the graphing calculator, should you choose to either purchase one or borrow one from the library, as well as an 8.5 by 11 sheet of notes. For the midterms, it'll be one-sided. For the final exam, it'll be double-sided. So you'll have access to some notes for the exams as well. And we'll talk more about that as the first semester or the first exam approaches. So don't worry about that too much for now. We will have a project near the end of the semester. It's not going to be huge. It's typically something that only takes most students, a few hours, certainly less than like 5 hours for most students. And again, we'll talk more about that around week 11-ish or so as we're getting closer to the end of the semester. But all of those will contribute to your grade. And that's what I'll be using to calculate your course grade at the end of the semester. One other important thing to mention, and it's highlighted right here. If I can highlight just that part, we'll see. There we go. For the homework, which is going to be in ALEKS, and I'll show you shortly how to access ALEKS. you need to maintain an 80% average on the homework assignments. So if that means, you get 100% on a bunch and only 50% on a few, as long as your overall average is 80% at the end of the semester, I will round your homework grade all the way up to full credit. So you will get all of that 30% credit on the homework as long as you maintain an 80% average. So keep that in mind. If there's a week that things are crazy and you just can't finish the homework that week, don't sweat it. As long as your average stays above an 80, you'll be good to go. And in addition to that, I give you unlimited attempts on the homework. You can try problems as many times as you like until you get them correct. So as far as I'm concerned, homework is meant to be practice. I just make it worth a good chunk of grades so that you have some skin in the game and some motivation to actually do the homework. But at the end of the day, everybody that puts in some effort should be able to easily get 100% credit for that homework. So just keep that in mind. We've got some other policies. These are just general C&M policies that they want me to include, including things related to like classroom disruption. That's not really an issue for us in an online class. But when we do have Zoom meetings, things of that nature, just, be adults, be courteous, be polite to your classmates, stuff like that. I do want to point out this last one. If anybody has accommodations, please send me an email with those accommodations or mentioning those accommodations early on. I will be able to see it in the Accessibility Resource Center, which I think has changed its name. No, maybe that is what it's called. Can't remember what it's called. Accessibility Services. There we go. I'll be able to see it in there, but try to let me know ahead of time so that we can at least discuss what accommodations will be taken for the class. As a very last thing, in the syllabus, I have a tentative schedule laid out, just showing you what topics we're going to be covering, which weeks, when exams are, and what those exams will cover, all that good stuff. So this is a good thing to look at just to get a real big overview of the schedule of the course. And with all of that, we're done with the syllabus. You can download it or print it as you need, but I'm going to scroll back up here towards the top and point out some of those other things that I mentioned. The way this course is going to be run is that for you guys, start with this Getting Started module. This is where that syllabus quiz is going to be. I will have checklists every week showing you what needs to be done. So here's the day one checklist. Just you should be doing this as soon as this video is done. In fact, this video is part of the checklist. But basically, go through that checklist every week. Make sure that you're on task and that you're knocking everything out and not missing anything. Here's that syllabus quiz, for example. Here's a guide for how to use ALEKS if you haven't ever used it before, but it's all pretty straightforward. The way this class is going to be set up is into weekly modules. And if we click on this Learning Modules section, you can see that it's broken down week by week. The modules will typically open on a Thursday. So for example, the week 2 module opens this upcoming Thursday for you guys, unless you're watching this after Thursday. And they stay open for about a week and a half, almost 2 weeks. And that should give you time to go through. And for example, if I click on one of these, as we scroll through, complete your checklist, which you can click into to see that checklist down there, and go into each one of these sections here, talking about the different competencies, and watch the corresponding lecture videos. So you'll want to click on these to watch those videos as well. And it's not letting me get into those. Here we go. You can click on it here. Here, this will take me to section 1.1. And down here, you would click here and it'll take you to that lecture video. Once you have all that information, then you go and do the homework. So basically watch the videos, take notes. I strongly recommend, I basically set up the videos much like Khan Academy, if you're familiar with that. If not, it's very similar to an in-class lecture. There will be just a whiteboard with me talking and writing, and you can follow along and write your own notes, which will be really helpful when studying. They'll also be really helpful when you go to do the homework, which you can then access on the left side here. Let me collapse my learning modules back down. even smaller. I guess we're good. But if you click on Alex here, this brings us to exactly what we need. This section, if we click in here, we'll open up. Okay. Didn't set that up yet. Anyways, you'll click on that and it will bring you into Alex where your homework assignments are also organized section by section. So there will be a section 1.1 homework, a section 1.2 homework, and so on. Those homeworks will be due on Tuesdays of basically the week after the module states. So like the week 1 homework will be due on the Tuesday of week 2. The week 2 homework will be due on the Tuesday of week 3, and so on. So they'll be due, after the module opens, so you have enough time to get through everything. So just keep that in mind. If you do have questions, I just haven't set this up yet. I got to go fix this link and set it up for you guys. But if you do have questions, send me an email and we'll figure it all out as we go. But otherwise, I think I've talked enough. Thank you guys so much for staying tuned through this. And good luck with your first week of this class and all of your others. And again, don't hesitate to reach out for help. I'm here to support you in any way that I can. All right, good luck.